Welcome to another exciting episode of the Amazing Marketer podcast. Today, we are diving deep into the work of Amazon selling with our expert guest, Kelly Colman. She is an accomplished seven-figure seller and mentor with over 17 years of experience and also AMZScout ambassador. Kelly's agency helps other Amazon sellers launch their own businesses and succeed in the marketplace. And she knows exactly how to grow a brand from 0 to 1 million a year. Her vision is simple: create one winning product, and that's all you need to do in order for your Amazon business to be a success. In today's podcast, Kelly will share invaluable insights on becoming a successful Amazon seller, from choosing your first product to navigating the ever changing landscape of e commerce. Get ready for practical tips, myth busting, and a glimpse into the future of selling on Amazon. My name is Saurabh. You are watching Amazing Marketer. Let's learn something new today. So, hi Kelly, welcome to Amazing Marketer. It's great to have
Thank you
you
so
on board.
much.
And it would be great if you can just brief about yourself.
Yes, of course. So my name is Kelly Colman. I am from London, England, and I have been selling on Amazon for many years, since 2005, really. My journey with product began when I started to sell 5 makeup products back in 2005. And I went on to build a brand of over 200 SKUs, and I sold my brand in 2018. So the journey has been up and down. I was not in product before. I don't have a business degree. I am just like everybody else.
Okay.
And, I've had products that have sold brilliantly. I've had products not sold brilliantly. And it's really been a very up and down journey. But I've learned loads of my way. And now what I'm really passionate about is teaching students, helping people with their Amazon journeys, but not just Amazon, actually. We sell in department stores and lots of different places.
Okay.
But so I'll get to share lots of kind of things that I've learned across my journey, and obviously still learning day to day with my students too.
Okay, that's wonderful actually. Okay, so let's start with the first question that most of the people want to know. What made you decide to start selling on Amazon and how did you choose your first product?
Well, in 2005, we didn't have the luxury of having all of the resource tools that we have today. So that's really where I've seen the landscape change completely. So it was almost from the salons that I had with my husband, where people were coming in. I would ask them questions. What do you like? What colors are you wearing? And so really it was almost like a gut feeling. Um, where I've seen it change over the years, and definitely where we look is more now at research, is making sure, yes, we've got a great idea for a brand. Yes, we've got a great idea and a passion, and it's come from knowing a lot about a category. But where I've seen it change over the years is that I really now always start with the research, because without the research, it's always going to be a risk.
Okay.
And I try to mitigate any risk when my students and when we're launching new products. So yes, I want the client to know loads about the subject. I don't want to just choose something randomly and just buy it from China and stick it on Amazon. That's the worst thing you can do.
Okay.
So it's marrying that passion, bringing that to a product, but also using the tools that we have at our fingertips, because that then really consolidates the idea, but it also gives us a formula with the keywords, formula with how are we going to get onto page one? How are we actually going to sell this product?
Right, right. So basically the thing is that if we do a product research, we can take a calculative risk, right?
Exactly.
So that,
Exactly. So we're not just going, oh, what does everybody buy every single day? Oh, mugs, cups.
right.
Do you know, every single week I have a client that comes to me that's knee deep in product that they've brought that they cannot ship in Amazon. And it horrifies me with the lack of research, or even like the know-how of how like platforms work, and they've spent £10,000 on product, or £20,000, and they're sitting with all that stock and they cannot sell it.
Okay, nice, nice. Okay, that's amazing. So how did you get your first sale and what strategy did you use to gain momentum from there?
So again, back kind of a long time ago, we didn't really have, we had maybe our department stores and we had other businesses. And so we thought, oh, we're just going to sell this product on Amazon. And of course, back then we didn't have all the tools. So we, of course, created amazing images, infographics. We had a lovely listing with descriptions, but maybe we weren't so good at keywords, maybe we weren't so good at the search terms and the back end stuff, but actually, we had some huge successes with lip glosses and bronzers and, really key products that when people got home, they actually worked and delivered and people wanted to repurchase.
Got it.
So it was really in the quality of the products as well. So it was an amalgamation. So strategy wasn't like at the top of our priority list back then, but of course now when we're looking to launch a product, how I would say it's completely changed is because we've done the research, we've done the keywords, we've got ourselves a great product. We've tried and tested the product. We know it's brilliant. We've got brilliant branding. We've got the trademark. We've got beautiful packaging, sustainable where we can, because sustainable is such a buzzword in anything really in your supply chain. Even if you're doing tech, everything has to be sustainable, FSC certified paper, like literally everything. And then when we launch, we always do like early reviewer programs. So we'll always do like Vine. And again, we'll look at, maybe a pricing strategy where we can offer a coupon or we can offer a discount on launch. And then we've got enough room in the product with discounts that we can perform over the promotions. And we'll really launch with that 90-day ad strategy as well. So we're going to know what we're doing for the first 90 days, because obviously, even if we are, running more ads, maybe we're not making as much margin initially. We want to get to the first page. So we're going to have a strategy to get there. And that's really what we're launching with, that 90-day strategy in mind. But of course, we've already done the research, so we know there's room in the market to get us to page one. That's the important thing.
Got it. That's a value, I would say that's a very valuable insights that you actually focus on the wine program and
We
especially
do.
the coupon and the discounting, because more I have
Yes.
seen in
Yes.
my experience, most of the sellers actually launch the product, but they don't take leverage of the wine program or the coupons or the discount.
Yes.
Amazing tip. I really appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next thing is, if you were starting from scratch today, what is the first thing that we would do differently?
Okay, so we're launching new products all the time. So this is a really relevant question. It's a great question. And in fact, not only for myself, but for my students, we're launching every single day. So our strategy is first, I talk to the client and my students about finding an area of your life, your kids' lives, your husband's, your family, something you know a lot about. So it may be that you've got a passion for dogs, or you love running, or maybe you go on the weekend and you fly fish. Like there's going to be something that you do more and better than anybody else. And so really it's to dig underneath the skin and to find an area or two areas that you are really skilled in. And when people say to me, oh, I don't do anything, when I talk to them, I always find like one or two little niches that they can really start to drill down on. So I would say start there first, then look at the research. So right now, with my students, I mean, obviously there's loads of research tools out there from Jungle Scout, AMZ, like there's loads of them. What I really like about the AMZScout tool is that you can quickly identify a good niche by the high niche score. And there's a green indicator for PL scores. And what I like in the beginning is to try and keep it really, really simple, because some of the tools are really complicated. So with new sellers and new students, we use the AMZScout to identify quick niches. So they'll type in things that they're interested in, and we'll get really nice green indicators on the PL scores. Once we've got a few of those, we can start to download CSV files. We can start to, put them together on an Excel spreadsheet, and we can really then start to delve into it. But I would say start with a passion,
Okay.
bring that to a product, type in loads of ideas, and obviously it's a bit more in depth than this, but look for your green indicating scores and then start from there. And then obviously we'll move on to, going deeper onto the research and the keywords and making sure there's enough search volume. And again, depending on what country you're selling in, because you can sell in any country, obviously making sure you abide by the tax rules. And then literally from there, you've kind of got your product idea, your niche idea, you've looked at the research, and then obviously we'll go on from there to sourcing. And, through lots of different websites, it's not just Alibaba. So we look for literally lots of different sourcing mechanics. And that's really the second step.
Okay, absolutely. I totally agree with you in this fact. And I would say the key two takeaways from this entire knowledge that you have shared respective to this question is that the one thing I would say that for the passion, obviously, if you do something related to your passion, you can do it for a long term. And
Definitely. And what it is, it's like when my students get their samples back, I always say to them, like, how, because there's loads of ways now. There's a lot of new AI tools as well with the research, and there's one now just launched on AMZ. It's amazing. So you can literally tick all your competitors and look, and it compares them, and it says this is how you should improve the product,
okay,
literally at
okay,
the click of a button. And what's interesting about that is when you get the sample back and you're calling in the best sellers and you're comparing everything, is this something that you would generally use over and over again? Is it good enough? Now, if it isn't, we have to get a factory that's going to give us a really good sample. But then, is there something else that somebody would want with this product? How can we adapt, change, improve the product? But if you know about this, so say if you're doing dogs for interest and you love dogs, once you get the product back, you can try and test that with your dogs.
true.
If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, why doesn't it work? And what do we need to improve about this product? Because there's so many sellers that just see opportunity in category and they will just order any product and deliver it. And honestly, I would say 8 out of 10 people that I talk to before taking, mentorship, they will send product directly in from a factory without ever checking a sample. For
Agree.
me, that is like the number one cardinal sin. Like, why would you do that? Because you want the end user to experience
True.
fantastic products. So again, that's a huge, huge mistake I see over again. And the same for TikTok Shop. It's the same thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that because quality is something very subjective to every individual. So from the manufacturer perspective, it might be a good product, but there might be chances that it is not a quality product from your perspective, and that might
Exactly.
backfire into the marketplace.
And
So
then that's literally then as soon as you enroll in Vine, you're going to get found out.
yeah,
You're going to get a 3-star review, a 2-star review,
exactly,
and then
exactly,
forget it. So if you take a little bit more, because a lot of people want to rush, they think, oh God, I'm going to do this really
exactly.
fast. I'm going to get selling next week. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah,
It's taken you 6 years to start selling. So
absolutely.
it takes 6 months to get it right. So
Right.
I think if you realize the customer is always king, customer is always centric to the Amazon playing field.
True.
And this is how great brands are built. When you look at brands, they're good at perhaps one thing. So you look at a well-being brand, they're very good at nutrition or supplements or candles. You look at a running brand, they're very good at trainers or
Yeah.
they're really good at vests or all you need to do is get really, really good at one thing. And the other thing that I see people doing is, oh, people need cups and they try and get so much into everyday items. And I get what they're coming at because they're like, I want to repeat purchase, I want to subscribe and save product. But also the risk comes with that is a lot of the categories are really, really competitive.
Right.
So unless you've got something that people are searching for that is not already there, it's super hard to get into these everyday categories.
I totally
Um,
agree with that. So
yeah,
that
so
because entering into this e-commerce is very easy, but surviving is difficult. And
exactly,
most
exactly.
of the beginners actually go for day-to-day products like t-shirts, mugs, mobile phone covers. Because the thing is that we actually see these many products on a day-to-day basis. That's a
That's
case.
right.
So that's
That's
the
right.
reason we are not able to think beyond what are the other products that actually going to make you a good entrepreneur or a
Exactly.
successful entrepreneur. That's the case.
Exactly. And things like education. I mean, there's so much, people spend so much time and research on making their children study and they're clever. And we have like, there's niches that you can find in education where you can actually write some books that you've
True.
taught your, I mean, if you're good at that, again, create something unique so that when people get it, they're like, oh my God, this has helped my child so much. What have you got for the next stage? So
True.
again, going off key a little bit
Yes.
and exploring what could that look like instead of doing a bog standard mug or a plate or a water bottle. I mean, I had a client this week has 1,000 water bottles
Oh.
because they watched a webinar from somebody, a random kind of person and on YouTube. So they went off, they didn't do any research. It could have been 5 years old, this webinar, and they bought 1,000 water bottles
God.
and they cannot sell them. And
Yeah,
you know what? I looked at it and was like, I couldn't sell them either
either.
because the actual style of the water bottle is old and completely wrong and has really bad reviews. And it's just not possible to sell them in this market at the price they want. So again, no research. It's actually cost you money
True.
rather than bringing money to you.
I totally agree with that. Okay, fine. So the next thing is, what is the realistic budget for someone just starting out, and how should they prioritize their spendings?
Yeah, so realistic budget, if you took a slice of cake and sliced it in the middle, when I look at the cross section of my students, I would say about £2,500
Okay.
they spend on their opening stock. Now, of course, there are monthly fees to Amazon. There's your trademark fees. For the UK, it's £170. The US, it starts around $350, $450, $100. If you use a patent attorney, obviously it's going to be, well, not a patent attorney, as an attorney, it's going to be a couple of $1,000s. There are a few incremental different charges as well, but I would say purely on stock around that price. Remember, it's 50%, 30 to 50% deposit, 30 days later, it's balance payment, but you don't need that all on day one because you're going to be doing your research, you're
True.
going to be finding your product, you're going to be sampling. So you need to have access to that money, I would say, within month 3, month 4, realistically, once you've improved and changed and, really looked at that product. So if I took a cross section, that's what I would say. Now, of course, there are some students that are spending 5,000, 10,000, and some that may sort of spend slightly less. You may also need to consider a second round of stock investment before you're getting money back from Amazon, because obviously with the holding days and then with the release dates, you may need to get, the next product ordered. And what I would say is if your appetite is really huge, so, you really want to earn 10,000, 20,000 a month and all of this kind of stuff, it's going to correlate to the amount of money you spend on stock. Because I have some students that come to me and say, yep, I want to earn 30,000 a month. And I'm like, okay, how much money do you have for stock? 2,000. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, like that doesn't correlate. So what I
Exactly.
would say is you have to build your business. Amazon is not for the get rich quick. It's
True.
not for tomorrow I'm going to be a millionaire and I'm just going to retire. Like if you want that, you need to find something that's going to give you that, because Amazon is not a get rich quick scheme. It is a get rich for sure if you do it correctly, but it's a mid to a long term strategy. It's not, if you need £10,000 tomorrow and you have 1,000 now, that's not going to work. So I would say a budget of around £2,500 or dollars for stock is okay. You need to obviously work in that replenishment stock, maybe for the first time before you get the money back from Amazon. You're going to need to reinvest into products because you want to grow your stock, and you may want to add a different variant. So if you've launched a black product, you might want to launch gray or brown or pink or blue. You may even want to launch a different version of. So I would say if you can look at this as a sideline business to begin with, keep your full-time job, keep the money coming in, build that second business, there will come a seesaw time where you can then go down to part-time and eventually give up your job because you've got that money. If you're lucky enough to have the money already in your savings, then it's a great strategy to start working on. So you're building your money and your brand for the future. But around that kind of money, I would say around 2,000, £2,500.
2,000, 200, 5,000. Okay, nice, nice. Okay. So how do you keep your cost down while still offering a great product to the end user?
I would say, how do you keep your costs down? Probably what I would say in the beginning is finding a product with a good enough margin. So
Okay.
what I do say to my students is trying to find a higher price product. And it's not just because, we're trying to be fancy. It's really about building those margins from the beginning, because obviously we spoke about in the beginning, we're gonna launch on Vine. That's going to be a cost.
True.
Um, there's going to be a cost of Vine, and you're going to have to give some free product. Now, if you are looking at mid to long term building a brand, whether you're building a brand on Amazon or TikTok or your own website or amalgamation or department stores, when you do press and PR, there's always going to be an amount of product you have to give away for free. We call it seeding. So Vine is almost like seeding your community, seeding people with your product that are going to leave good reviews. And I would say that in the beginning, there are going to be freebies, there are going to be costs to your business, but you've got to think long term about building your brand. And that's why we have to come up with a name and almost a philosophy, like what is our brand about? And if you're working in your passion, it's easy to start to build that out, even if it's 2 or 3 products. So I would say, don't look at it as, discounting or all of that. What I would look at is having a product where you've got good enough margins to be able to take the hit.
Got
So if you're launching a £60 product, have a margin there and have a 15 or £20 buffer that if you're discounting, if
Okay.
you're giving away free product, you can afford to do it. Where I see people really struggle is like if they're offering a $10, £10 product, £15 product, there aren't the margins there,
Hmm.
unless obviously it's a cosmetic product and it's costing you $1. If it's costing you $6, $7, you're already losing. You're not going to make this work. So again, product research, once you've got your passion, and find a product where you've got enough margin, where you've got enough marshmallow to be able to like absorb that,
Got
so
it.
that even if you're not losing money, you can actually afford to take the hit in your margins initially with the vine, with the discounts and everything. Starting too low in the pipeline in the product supply chain is just not gonna, in my experience, that's where all the products come in. It's that first initial, what product am I going to sell? Is there enough margin
Okay.
from the beginning?
Okay, nice. So, like we are discussing about the margin, what do you think? What is a decent amount of margin that one should actually have? What is the minimum margin? It's like
Minimum is like 25%. So
25%.
like I would always say like a third should be your product cost and freight into Amazon.
Okay.
And then a third is your Amazon fees and your ad strategy and all of your discounted and ads and everything. A third should be your profit. Now, sometimes that does come down to like 20, it might squeeze down to 20 when you've got all of everything going out, Vine and freebies and da da da,
Got
da and seeding. But really, we should be looking up to 33, 35%. 35% I'll be really happy with.
Okay.
Um, Obviously, your MOQ, when your minimum order quantities initially, you're only ordering like 200, 300, 400. So of course, the product of your cost of goods is going to be high. But later on, when we can order 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, of course, then that's when you really see the margin working. And that's why big companies, all of the big cosmetic companies, all of the big, any personal care or any big brands, they can offer great pricing because they have the scale. They are buying in, million pieces, 2 million pieces. And so of course it's very hard to compete with the giants. And that's why we also look at brand domination in categories, because you can't compete against the giants because they have scalability. They're making,
Exactly.
their minimum order quantities are so huge. You're never going to be an Amazon brand,
I
unfortunately,
I
because it's difficult.
totally agreed with you because the giants play on the predatory pricing, and you can't actually compete on the pricing factor with those people. I
No.
totally agree with that.
And that is where they will win every single day. Because unfortunately, the Philips and Remingtons, the Panasonic, the Apple, they dominate because they can, because their buying is so powerful.
So
It's like
powerful.
when you look at high street stores, they're buying across all their stores, sometimes 700, 800, 2,000, 10,000 stores. You can't compete with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, fine. So the next question would be, what's the one Amazon feature or tool that you wish you had known earlier?
Oh my God, if I could have had any of the research tools back in 2005, I think that I would have been really the best in category in everything. I think like any of the research tools are fantastic. What I would
Okay.
say is the new AI tool for me from AMZScout is unbelievable. It's the best tool I found. Of course, I love lots of different tools, but I really like the AI tool. For me, it's not only a game changer, but it's also a time saver. And we're always looking for time saving. So that
Absolutely.
would be my favorite tool of question.
Got it, got it, got it. Okay, this is a very unique question, I think, and this is you are into the mentorship. You have lots of students. You give consultations, right? So this is the one question I'm pretty sure about it. You have come across is that is the tool necessary to start the business, or one should go at the very beginning with the tool or the later stage?
Definitely at the beginning. So the tool, definitely subscribe in the beginning, do all your research. If you can't afford to carry on, just stop it for a little while. But obviously what I would say is when you're preparing your listing, you need to run the keywords and your listing through one of the tools to make sure you get the highest LQS, which is your listing quality score, and make sure that you have everything. You've spied on your competitors, you've got all their keywords, and you know exactly what you're doing on launch. Because a lot of people get to the launch and go, yeah, I've done it. I've got a great product. It looks great. That's it. Now it's going to sell itself. Now the hard work begins.
Exactly.
Okay. The ad strategy, the vine. Literally, this is where we just got to be on and on and on and on and on and on. So yeah, it doesn't just stop when we deliver products into Amazon.
Okay, nice. Okay, so like you have just mentioned about the listing. So the next question is related to that only. What role does listing optimization play in improving the visibility?
We constantly optimize our listings. So I have a team and they are absolute experts, and we're always looking how we can improve ads, how we can improve the optimization. So what's our listing quality score? Are we losing people? Are we converting people? What are our impressions? So we're always looking at the metrics. So
Oh,
if something's not converting, why? Why are people clicking and not buying? So
got it.
this is what we're constantly looking at, and we're always setting new ads, taking out the keywords that are not working, and again, just constantly tweaking, because you can't just you can't just launch something and then walk away and go on holiday and then come back and expect it to be, loads of money in your bank. I mean, sometimes we can launch it, it's really, really amazing, and we're like, wow, this is quite easy. But on some of them, we really have to work that first 10 days, really, really working, getting it, getting the algorithm to wake up,
Got it.
to recognize us.
Fine. So it's like it's not a set and forget kind of a game. One has to be keep on doing the modification, the
All
optimization.
the time, all
Got
the
it.
time.
Great, great. Okay, so what are the simple things new sellers can do to improve their product listings? Any few tips from your side?
So run it through some software.
Okay,
Look at your listing quality score, because it's out of 100. So if it's at like 50 or 60, run it through some software, find out what they're recommending, add new keywords. I would say look at your images. Images for me are super important. Look at it like you're going to buy a house. When you look at your product, does it make you want to buy it?
got
If the answer is no, then what can you add? You should always have beautiful zoomable images on white background for your first 1 to 3 images. Then we have infographics, so information on your graphics. Then we have lifestyle images. How is someone going to be using that product in the house or wherever it's going to be? Showing lifestyle, showing families, kids, mums, dads, whatever, using the product, pets, and having all of the information. What size is it? What does it look like in real context? So lots and lots of information about the product. Remember, nobody's ever going to walk into your store
it.
unless you have stores as well and try the product. So those 7 to 9 images have got to convey. And of course, not forgetting video. If you have a trademark and it's registered and you've gone through brand registry, then of course you can actually have video content. And we find video content wins every day of the
Every
week.
time.
So we're always trying to upload more video to our ads and work out what videos are converting better, whether it's unboxing, whether it's someone utilizing it, whether it's an information video. So again, lots and lots of different ways to make your listing better all of the time.
Fine. So I will totally agree with you because you have given an invaluable kind of a tip regarding the high resolution of images. Because what I always say in my consultation and all that you are not selling a product over Amazon or e-commerce. You are selling a high resolution image. If
That's right.
if customer is not getting what exactly the product is, if they are not able to zoom it, what exactly it is, so they are not going to buy it. So
Right.
basically, you are not selling a product. So let's suppose I am just having a watch. So customer has no zero moment of truth. They can't touch it, they can't
Correct.
feel it. So it's like they are happy. Okay, this looks too good on someone's wrist. It will look good on my wrist as well, right? So you are selling a high resolution image. So one has to understand this. That's a key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And real estate is so important. And if you think about a house, when you buy a house, it's everything. You want to look in the rooms, and
Right.
that is what people need to realize. And sometimes people don't even spend any money or any time on the images, and it's just wow. I mean, yeah.
Actually, most of the seller try to save their budget or investment or money over the images. Though I always
Correct.
say that try to invest much and much more on the image aspects because they are actually the first impression or the first thing that is going to catch attention of the potential buyer.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. So the next thing is how did you build confidence in your product and brand in a crowded market?
So again, I think by just making sure you have a brilliant product, you've got to believe in your product. Gone are the days where you can just have a cash product and you're just like, selling it, selling it, selling it. I think how you build brand loyalty and a brand is just by having a superb product. And I think when people use your product and they know your brand and they think, wow, this is fantastic, they will look and they will buy and people talk about it. And I think just focus on having a great product. And it doesn't then really matter if people try and copy you, because if you always stick to your brand values, so every time you launch a product, it ticks the box of your values,
True.
then you'll always win. So it's trying to look more long term
Got it.
and just create a really great product. And I know that people say, well, what's a great product? Well, a great product is a number of things. It's a product that will last, that is quality, that's not going to break. Maybe you've got a really nice branding logo on it. Maybe you've thought about, the packaging nicely, or maybe a storage little bag or something that's a little bit extra. And sometimes if you do a product where you use 2 or 3 factories, it's much harder for people to copy. So sometimes in the supply chain, we'll add a little bit of complexity in there. So we may make something else in another factory, send it to be packed off in the other factory, and then, so we actually think a little bit as well, a bit more in depth, because when things are complicated, people don't do it.
True, true.
So it's
Absolutely.
trying to look at those kind of things as
Those
well.
kind of it.
But I mean, really, in essence, it's building a great brand around a great product.
Got it. Got it. Great, great. Okay. So, what is the biggest myth about selling on Amazon that you would like to bust?
The biggest myth is that you're going to be a millionaire tomorrow. And the other biggest myth is Amazon's too saturated. Like, I get that all the time. Amazon's too saturated. I'm too late. Rubbish. Like, Amazon is like new niches are appearing all the time. I've got a client that's doing something in a brand new niche, just a product that came to market 4 months ago. It's doing great guns and they are going to absolutely kill it. So the myth about Amazon being too saturated is absolutely not. It is saturated in, as we talked about, in categories that people are using every single day. But in the niches and the niches where there have obscurities and kind of you believe that there's nobody looking there, that's where the gems are. That's where the gold is. So I think oversaturated, no. And the other one, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow on Amazon. I'm an Amazon seller. That's also not right.
Wonderful. These are actually, I would say, the hard-hitting truth and amazing. Okay,
Oh.
fine. Okay, the next is how do you stay updated with Amazon's constantly changing policies and algorithms?
Well, that's a challenge. Amazon is always obviously sending us emails with updates. When you're working across countries, as we do in our agency side, it's a challenge. Every day there's a new policy, a client can't sell because now there's a new tax regulation, or this account's been deactivated because now they need something else. And yeah, it's a minefield. But what
Okay.
I would say is when you've got your product and you know it's good, make sure you check the country you're going to sell in the government website, make sure the certifications are updated. So make sure you have a manufacturing agreement, make sure you have things like, if it's a CE mark for the Europe, or if it's a battery and you need UL, or you need, I don't know, ROHS for electronics, make sure you have all the compliance and the certifications, make sure you have your manufacturing agreement, make sure you
Got
have
it.
your trademark. Literally try to, even if a product's not complicated, make sure you have all of the right certifications and agreements in place, and make sure that if you've got, if you're importing something for the first time, you've spoken to like the body of what that product is, or, just double check everything,
Okay.
because, you don't want to get caught out when you're shipping and importing these products and there's something missing, and or Amazon just suddenly bring in a new regulation that you don't have. What I say to all my students is, even though Amazon isn't asking for that documentation, have it anyway, because they'll catch up with the regulations at some stage and then you'll need to supply it. and it'll be
Right.
like 5 days, 7 days. So trying to stay ahead of certifications on your side and agreements and having all of those signed. And then hopefully, but in the best will in the world, accounts do get deactivated. There are problems, there are challenges, there are violations. You just have to deal with them fastly, correctly, and give Amazon all the information. And if they still say not satisfied, you reopen the case and you go again. But you put everything in a very orderly, professional fashion. And eventually you will get there. It is frustrating, and especially during peak seasons, it can be really frustrating.
Very
But
frustrating.
that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with very, very large company,
Okay.
and we just need to toe the line.
I totally agree with you. Matlab, it's kind of a mammoth in the e-commerce industry, I would say, and they are constantly working. Especially the most of the suspension happen during the festival season, and no doubt they are not going to respond easily and timely because there is lot of rush of the so many sellers. So it happens.
Absolutely.
It happens.
And you just have to wait in the queue,
Exactly.
unfortunately.
Exactly. Okay, fine. So, what emerging trends do you see in the Amazon marketplace, and how are you preparing for them? What do you think?
So every week I get all the updated trends through my software. I get all of the latest niches, like what's coming, what's new. And actually, I offer a service to my clients where I actually find them products. So if a client comes to me and said, like, I'm really, really still struggling with research, I will
Mhm.
find them products in their interest, in their niche, for their country. And I will deliver it to them with keywords and listings and everything, because some people do not know what good looks like. For
Got it.
me, emerging trends, what I'm seeing is huge developments in smart home. Anything that's kind of techie is coming, is here, is moving at the rate of knots. Spy cameras, tiny things that people can disguise and use in things. And, even in categories like home and pets, and it's just technology. Things are moving very, very, very fast. So, technology is great, but you need to know that those products probably won't be around forever. So you've always got to be on the cusp of what's coming next. So you can
Okay.
make a lot of money in tech, but again, it's always staying abreast of like what's coming, because people will want the new and improved version of.
Okay. Great. Great. Okay, fine. So, like you have mentioned, you always use tools just to figure out research, keywords, and just to give the clients, okay, these are the latest or emerging trends. So, which tool do you recommend to the audience or someone? What do you think?
Well, so the one that I'm using at the moment, AMZScout, they get monthly trend reports. So they get
Okay.
monthly reports on what's happening.
Okay.
And also you get weekly trending products. So it's really good if you wanted to launch, I don't know, say in the US. It's mainly based around the US market. It's the biggest. They will outline like all the new trends, what's coming. So it's quite good. I read it every week, every day. As soon as I get it, I read it. And there's different reports. That's why some are daily, some are monthly. But it's really good to keep abreast of also what you're finding. I mean, obviously, we are researching all the time. So I'm finding and spotting other things. But sometimes what you'll find is things come first in the US, and then you'll find like it's not in your market yet. So you may be able to pick up an idea and, for instance, launch it in a different country.
Exactly.
So it's good. It's always good to look at it. I mean, some things are a gimmick. I don't like gimmick products that are going to
Yeah.
come and go. So it's trying to find something that hasn't got like seasonal as well, seasonality to it. Because as a first time seller, I always get my students to launch a product that's going to be all year round, because I want them to have the sales and want to have the income. And
True.
then maybe later we could do seasonal products.
Got it. Got it. Okay, nice. Okay, so the final question would be, if you could give one piece of advice to someone starting on Amazon today, what would it be?
I would say about something that you have maybe brought or had or would love to be able to buy, and try and invent it and create
Okay.
it. I've got, I know it's kind of mad, but I've got a couple of clients actually doing own molds for products.
Okay.
And what the brilliant thing about that is nobody else in the whole wide world is going to have that product exactly the same.
Got
So
it.
if you really want differentiation, then do a mold, do a custom product.
Custom.
Um,
Okay.
and that's going to be, and then if you do the research as well and it's amazing, then you're off to the races,
Okay.
as we say. That means kind of like, you're off to the bank, to collect your winnings.
Okay.
um yeah, so that's what I would say.
Okay. That's amazing. Okay. So that was really an insightful session. And thank you so much for sharing your invaluable
You're welcome.
knowledge and experience with our audience. And
You're welcome.
fine. And have a nice day. And bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So baby,
Bye.
bye. Okay, bye bye. By following these expert tips from Kelly Colman, aspiring Amazon sellers can set themselves up for success even with limited budgets. Remember, success on Amazon comes from continuous learning, adapting to new market trends, and always putting the customer first. If you have any doubt related to Amazon business, then you can book a one-on-one consultation with me. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos. And finally, keep selling, keep smiling.